Hey there, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whatever time it is where you are. I hope this message finds you healthy, thriving, and just, having some joy living your best life. This week, I am focusing on this concept of self love. I've said it before, I'm going to beat it into the ground. In order for you to really just have peace and joy in your life, you've got to get really clear about who you are and get into a place of real appreciation and acceptance and love. And I'm offering this week ideas, thoughts, quotes on my social media and in other spaces that have helped me get to a place where I'm a little bit closer to really that 100% total acceptance. And the reality is, I don't think I'm ever going to get there. Maybe that's not the goal of life. I think there's always going to be opportunities for me to continuously grow, to get to know myself, to love myself even more. So there's no end game. There's no final destination. It's a journey. It's a cliche, but it is. It is a journey. This idea of moving towards self-love and the idea of remembering who you are and who you were when you got here, that you're lovable just as is. So it is a journey, but I take not pride in that, but that kind of excites me to know that there's always going to be an opportunity for more growth, more love, etc. So this morning on social media, I posted the idea, a quote, about this notion of how important it is to make sure that you are living your life, doing what you want to do, living in a way that feels good and feels enriching and feels satisfying to you. In this culture, we have a tendency to try to domesticate people. We script their lives out. There are a set of expectations, some of them that come from like the 20s and before that, that we still thrust and imposed upon young people and other people that really cause a lot of people to be dissatisfied and unhappy with themselves and with their lives because we're not taught to have the courage to sort of break out and be who we want to be and live in a life that feels true to us. Instead, we're often domesticated, trained, dumbed down into behaving in ways that fit the norm. For example, in this country, in this culture, there's still this idea that success means um, graduating from high school, going to college, getting your degree, getting married, having children, and getting a really good job, right? We don't teach entrepreneurship to the scale in the way that I think we should. We don't teach people to think for themselves and think freely and create lives that feel good to them. So we still shame people, particularly women, if they're of a certain age and have never been married and never have had children of their own. We look at them like they got three heads and are always trying to, either hook them up or make them feel good about, where they are. We do it with men with these ideas of what masculinity means, and you have to earn a certain amount, and you have to have this certain kind of career, you have to drive this current kind of car to be of any value to another person. We do it in so many ways. I mean, too many ways to really mention. And then what happens is people grow into be adults who are just unhappy, dissatisfied, and just feel miserable. And, one of the things that I think holds us back from being really happy is when we give in to peer pressure, we give into culture, we give into family pressure to abandon what we want for ourselves and live other people's lives. When I'm coaching people, the question I often ask them is, whose life are you living, right? And so for many years for myself, a greater part of my youth and my young adult life, I was living through the vision of other people. I was living my life looking through the lens of other people, their expectations, what they wanted from me, what made sense for them, for me. At one point, I wanted to be an attorney because everybody said you should be an attorney because, A, B, and C. And other ideas that I had for what I wanted to do for my life didn't go over very well, and I didn't really pursue them. For many, many years, there was a lot of pressure, not from my mother, thank goodness, but from other people, all in my business, trying to figure out when I was going to get married and do that whole thing. And um, and it's not that I set out not wanting to get married per se. I just don't like the pressure of people telling me what I should and should not be doing with my time, with my life, with this experience on this planet. So it used to annoy me. And at the same time, though, I would still try to conform a little bit because, who wants to be different? Who wants to be an outcast, right? I remember when I became a vegetarian, I was very self-conscious about that because I knew my family were meat eaters at the time. And I remember when I was living in Atlanta, my aunt came to visit me and she pulled me to the kitchen and asked me if I needed a loan or I needed some money because back home, only poor people don't eat meat. And she meant it well. She meant well by it. She wasn't trying to be insulting, but it was just, that's what we knew. That's how we lived. So I want to encourage you now that we're in this pandemic and we have time to spend time with ourselves and be in our thoughts and hopefully do some reflection. Whose life are you living right now? When you look about, if you're partnered up, who's your partner? If you look at the career path that you find yourself on right now in this moment, how did you get there? And if you've decided that you wanted to stay there because you love it, that's cool. But if you've always wanted to do something else, or if you never felt really satisfied in what you're doing, what else would you want to be doing now? It takes a lot of courage to go against the grain, to sort of swim upstream stream when everybody's swimming in your direction. And it doesn't always feel good to be considered an outcast, and it doesn't feel good to be questioned about what you're doing and why aren't you doing it this way, and or hearing, this is how we do it and this is how it's always been done. It doesn't always feel good to be challenged in that way. But you know what does feel good? Getting up in the morning and knowing that you're living a life that's aligned with who you are and what you want. Recognizing that all the mistakes that you're making them because you're doing what you want to do, not because you're trying to do something that somebody else thought you should be doing and you're screwing it up because you really don't want to be doing it in the first place. Being yourself takes a lot of courage. And doing what you feel you were meant to do when it's not aligned with what your tribe, what the people around you think you should be doing, takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength and a lot of perseverance. But I really believe that it is worth it, because self-love means honoring the way you want to naturally be in the world. I think that our careers, our crafts, what we do, everything we do is a soul song. So if you are an artist, if you're a singer, if you're a dancer, if you're a choreographer, your offering is your soul song. If you feel it's your destiny to be a mother, in your mothering, you are expressing your soul's song. And so it's important that we live lives that really reflect our inner rhythm, really reflect our inner wiring. So some of us may have been, your destiny might have been to be a yoga instructor, but your family wanted you to be a doctor. Some of you, your desire might have been to be a mechanic because you like to work with your hands, and there's something about tinkering and figuring out cars that really just gets your juices going. But we're in a society that doesn't necessarily look upon that career as being high profile or being of value. And so we have these messages that we get from people saying that, well, what we want to do is wrong. What we want to be is wrong. You should do this and you should do that. And I heard someone say one time, we shouldn't should on anybody, right? So today, I really want you to think about this question about whose life are you living? And if you can't radically change everything in a moment's notice, which we often can't do, are there things in your life that you can start to do? And are there things in your life that you should stop doing that will allow you to be more of yourself, who you want to be, right? Are you dressing for other people? Are you posting on social media for other people? Are you working in a career for other people? Are you parenting in a way because that's the way you were always raised to parent, but it doesn't necessarily fit in with who you are right now? What are one or two things, a couple of ways, a couple of spaces in your life, that some openings, some cracks that you can create that allow you to be more of who you know that you are, that can allow you to allow your soul song to really come out? That's your footprint, right? Your spiritual footprint is what's going to help shift the planet, but also allowing yourself to just really be yourself, warts and all, is what's going to allow you to experience more peace. There's no way that you have to live. As long as you are not harming other people, right? Your orientation, your occupation, how you dress, your political perspective, how you want to spend your time, the kind of work that you want to do, those choices should be made from within. Those is from an internal space. They should come from your innermost desires, your innermost wants, and not by the labels and the expectations that other people put on you. Because when you're out here trying to live a life that does not belong to you, you are inviting suffering, dissatisfaction, and pain into your life. And who needs more of that? Yeah? So this week, what are you doing? Whose life are you living? Dare to be different by being yourself. Dare to be courageous just by being yourself. Okay? You matter, you're important. Your differences, our differences are what help make this world sort of go around. And it's through your authentic and true expression of yourself that we're going to be able to turn some things around. So find the courage. One or two things that you can start to change, a couple of things that you can do to start to move closer to the person that you know that you want to be, living the way you want to live, dressing the way you want to dress, talking the way you want to talk, rolling with the people that you really want to roll with, working in an industry, in a place, in a way that really feeds your soul. You deserve that. And it's your life, it's your business. So this week, or today, this week, I know I'm putting up all these challenges, but just for today, ask yourself, what can I do to be more of myself? What can I let go of that will allow me to be more of myself? Whose life am I living? And what can I do to make the changes to make sure that at the end of the day, when all is said and done, I lived my life and not the life that other people thought I should be living, right? That's the message. That's the offering for today. If you have any questions, thoughts, some suggestions of how you can start to sort of break free of those patterns, hit me up. You can DM me. I may not have the answers for you, but I have some empowering questions that can help you find your own answers, hopefully. All right, that's it. Hope you all have a great day. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow.